Welcome to Enform's info session video on the new audit protocol for SECOR, the Small Employer Certificate of Recognition. My name is Dave, and in this video, the first of two, we're going to learn about what's new in the audit protocol, submitting documentation, and tips for completing your audit. Be sure to also watch part 2 of this SECOR video series. It will take a more detailed look at the audit protocol by element. So for those of you who have used the tool before, let's start with a review of what's new in the SECOR audit protocol. And for the purposes of this video, we won't talk about things that haven't changed, like Assessor Code of Ethics. We're focused today on things that have changed. You should start by downloading the most recent audit document from the Enform website. Just head over to enform.ca and look for the SECOR protocol page in the Certificates of Recognition section. If you download the Microsoft Word file, you can save all your audit information on your computer, so put away that pen. Here are the new areas you'll find in the protocol. There's a SECOR summary sheet, submission checklist, employee breakdown and sampling details table, SECOR Assessor Instructions, question scoring example sheet, and a company profile or organizational chart. Naturally, I'd recommend you read through these new areas of the protocol and become familiar with them before jumping into your audit. Okay, let's have a quick look at these documents, starting with the SECOR summary sheet. The SECOR summary sheet provides basic employer information to Enform and allows for an efficient method of logging your audit into your account. Because Enform staff will refer to this sheet during your audit review, it's important the information is properly filled out. Next, let's look at the submission checklist. This checklist is designed to assist you in the submission process and ensure that things run smoothly when it's time to hand over your audit. The one new area here, multi-province document sampling, at the bottom of the table, is for employers that have WCB accounts in other provinces that they wish to achieve or maintain a SECOR for. If this applies to you, make sure you check off the documents that you will be submitting to support activities in each relevant province. The next new document is the Employee Breakdown and Sampling Details table. This information gives Enform some insight into your business and your team and is used during the review process. Let's jump right into the audit document to see another new feature, Assessor Instructions. The audit document contains elements A through G in a table format, with a column for Assessor Instructions. I think you'll find this information really helpful when you're completing the audit. It's got detailed instructions on what the audit reviewers will be looking for, what documentation might be required, or simply some tips on answering the question. There is also a column for your notes, which is where you would record, for example, the name of the company policy or procedure that satisfies the requirements of the question. You would also type in here if the reviewers can find samples you've submitted in your binder. Now, why don't we explore this further by looking at an example completed by a fictitious assessor. Question D1 asks, do you have an orientation policy in place that includes who is responsible for conducting them? Requirement to be completed on the first day. Health and safety policies and responsibilities. Hazard reporting procedures. Emergency response procedures. Incident, injury, illness, and near-miss reporting. And sign-off requirement by new hires. The assessor instructions outline what the reviewer is looking for, and in this sample document, the assessor has provided a full answer to the question. He or she have confirmed the policy exists and included a few key examples of the topics in their policy. Furthermore, they've outlined where the reviewers can find their policy in their submission binder. This is a great note. Now, let's keep going and look at question D2. Are new employees, including any rehired or transferred employees, contractors, and visitors, provided with an orientation that covers the critical topics identified in the policy on or before the first day of work? The assessor instructions tell us that completed orientations are required, with dates to show when they were completed. the topics that were covered, and sign-offs from employees, contractors, or visitors. The reviewers will be looking for orientations for all your employees. They will be comparing the names against your employee breakdown form to determine if the question is being fully addressed. Are employees, contractors, or visitors being orientated on or before the first day of employment? Of course, in some cases, this might not apply. If you're an owner-operator with no employees, simply record this in your note. But reviewers will still be looking for you to have an orientation policy in question D1 in the event you do hire employees. If no new employees have been hired in the past 12 months, you can submit prior orientations, or you could write something like this. New employees, contractors, or visitors would receive an orientation on their first day. However, we have not had any in the last 12 months. Now that we've learned how to use the Assessor Instructions and write a note, let's look at how this question would be scored by an Enform reviewer. There are 3 types of scoring methods used in the SECOR protocol: a range of points, all or nothing points, or cascading points. Let's revisit our example in D1, the orientation policy. At the end of the row is the scoring column, which tells us that up to 8 points are available for this question. The Enform reviewer will read your note, access any documents you submitted, check to see if all 8 points outlined in the question exist in your policy, and award a score accordingly. This question uses the range of points scoring method. If you are missing an item that is required, the reviewer will adjust the score and provide a comment when they deliver the audit results. Now let's take a quick look at all or nothing scoring. There are very few questions in the audit document that use all or nothing scoring, but one of them is question E5A. Is there a process or form to evaluate the emergency response plan for effectiveness? In this case, reviewers will be looking for confirmation that you have a process in place to test your emergency response plan, and it would need to include the bulleted items in the question. 0 points would be awarded if you did not have a process or form, or if one of the bulleted items is missing. So be sure you include all items, and then double-check your list. The last type of scoring is cascading points, where points are linked to what was scored in a prior question. This might sound a little confusing, so let's use an example. Question B1 asks, have all company positions or disciplines been inventoried for formal hazard assessment purposes? For this question, the reviewer will be looking at your submitted inventory or list of positions and disciplines and comparing it against your company organization chart or other documentation to confirm all positions have been inventoried. If one or more were missing, only a percentage of the points would be awarded. For example, if 5 positions were identified, but only 4 have been inventoried, the score would be 4 points. But, and this is the cascading part, the score in B1 now affects how questions B2 and B3 are scored. This is because positions that haven't been inventoried can't then have tasks identified, as in question B2, and then the hazards identified, as in question B3. By the way, if you're looking for more information on the hazard management process, check out the video Element B, Hazard Identification and Risk Assessment on the Core Videos page in the Safety Certification area of Enform's website. And now that we've completed our audit document, it's time to submit a company profile and organizational chart. This will provide the reviewer with an overview of your operation and some basic knowledge on what types of services you provide. This information is critical to the reviewers. Hey, I think we've covered all the new parts in the protocol. So, we've learned all about the changes in the SECOR audit protocol. Let's move on to submitting your documentation. Near the beginning of the SECOR audit protocol document, you'll find the document table, which lists each question and identifies which document you should submit to support your answer. You can use this as a guide to organize your binder for submission. Now, you'll also notice this table mentions a directive document a number of times, but what exactly is this? A directive document provides information on what or how a company meets their safety expectations. Policies and procedures are examples of directive documents. Item A1, the Health and Safety Policy, is an example of a policy. And item B7, Process for Review Hazard Assessment, is an example of a procedure. The other type of document is a sample. These are documents that provide evidence you've been following your directive documents and show how they have been implemented. For example, question A2 asks how you make your employees aware of the contents of your company's health and safety policy. You could show that through orientation records, safety meeting minutes, or perhaps a health and safety policy copy that has been signed by the employee. Let's say you have evidence of making employees aware through orientations. You would provide completed orientation records with the health and safety policy listed as one of the items covered. Now you're probably asking, how much documentation do I need to submit? There are two areas in the protocol that determine how much documentation is required: the Assessor Instructions and the Document Table. The Assessor Instructions for A2 ask you to provide evidence for all employees, and the Document Table also outlines this. If you don't have employees or are an owner-operator, then you would be exempt from providing evidence for this question, but you still need to provide a note. If you leave the note blank and don't explain, the reviewer will assume documentation is missing. So, your assessor note would need to explain what your current status is, either no employees or you are an owner-operator, and also describe what you do have in place in the event you hire employees in the future. And remember, reviewers will be looking for documentation that covers the previous 12 months. Now that we've outlined submission documents, let's explore the best way to package it all up with some tips for completing your audit. There are a lot of options for packaging your documents and submitting them for review. Here are a few pointers to help the process run smoothly. First, please avoid sending original documents, and I can't stress this enough. It's a whole lot safer to send a copy of your documents. This preserves the original for future use in the event that your document is lost or damaged in the mail system. Second, a well-organized binder is the key to Enform reviewers getting through your audit quickly and efficiently. Third, the Small Employer Audit Protocol package should be submitted with all pages together. This will ensure nothing gets missed and the login process of your audit is smooth. And fourth, you haven't pulled out your pen again, have you? The audit protocol document has been purposely released in Microsoft Word so you can type in all your assessor notes. This will ensure everything is clear for the reviewers. So let's quickly summarize what we've learned. There are a whole bunch of new features in the protocol, all designed to make your job as a SECOR assessor simpler and more efficient. Remember to review the entire document before you begin and refer back to this video as often as you need. Use the document table to ensure you've supplied all the directive documents and sample documents necessary to support your answers. And remember, you can only record NA if the instructions allow for it. If you're uncertain, contact Enform. Keep your documentation nicely organized so the reviewers don't have to go searching for them, or worse, miss something and deduct points. Don't send original documents, and please, no handwriting. Okay, that's enough from me. Thank you for listening. Being the assessor for your company is a big responsibility, but an important one. Enform is here to help you fulfill that role and get you on the road to a SECOR certification. Here's how you can reach us if you need help. And check back for more info session videos on the new SECOR audit protocol.